putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. Talking about one of the funniest stories I've heard in a long time. This firefighter brings a watermelon to work at Engine 55 in Detroit. White boy brings a watermelon. It's 90% black. The fire department in Detroit. And bada bing, bada boom, they dismiss him. Said it was racially motivated and so on and so forth. And I get it. I get the symbolism of the watermelon and how it invokes, I don't know, blackness. To me, it's Southern. It's an amazing fruit. I love watermelon. I love tomatoes. You know, tomato and watermelon, it's the same family. But tomato's a fruit. People think it's a veggie. It's a fruit. And I love them both. So if it brought a tomato, you know, I would have been just as unoffended as if he brought, a watermelon. As long as he brings salad dressing and a little lettuce, I'm good to go. But here's my watermelon story. I don't know if I've told you guys. Have I told you guys my watermelon story? If I have, it's been a long time, right? So years ago, there was a club. It was called Confetti in Dallas, and me and my best friend, everybody knew about confetti. It was back in the clubbing days. So you would, go from club to club, and confetti was a mixed club. It was, it was not too far from SMU where I went to college. And so a lot of mixture, college kids and city people, etc. So it was if you could get in, it was a big deal to say, yeah, I was in confetti's last week or whatever. So confetti got to the point where it wouldn't let black folks into the club. And I don't know, being honest with you, whether it was targeted blacks because, there was too many blacks starting to come to the club and it was getting a reputation. And being honest with you, that's not a reputation you wanted. You wanted exclusivity. You wanted, movers and shakers, but you had to really manage the crowd. That's what doormen do. They manage the crowd. One time I went to confetti, just to put it in perspective. And it was funny. One of my buddies, who's a martial artist, was a bouncer there, but he was on the inside. The other bouncer, the doorman, was on the outside, and I had a goatee at the time. And I went there. I'm dressed nice and everything. He's like, "Nah, man, you can't get in." I go, "I can't get in." He goes, "Nah, man, you can't get in." I said, "Why?" He goes, "'Cause you got a goatee." And I went, "Really?" I go, "We're down to facial hair." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "All right." I said, "That's the only reason why I can't get in." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." I run to Tom Thumb, which is a grocery store. I buy a disposable razor, and I shaved right there. And then he lets me in. And as soon as I walked in, the other guy, the bouncer, who's a martial arts friend of mine, I see him. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And we do the man chug and everything. And then he goes, "Good to see you." And I said, "Yeah, man, I barely got in." I said, "That dude made me shave," because he noticed that I had shaved. He's like, I was like, "Yeah, I just shaved." And he's like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, the dude wouldn't let me in." And so he goes and braces up the other bouncer and says, "Hey, what the heck's this, man? You're not letting my buddy in." Anyway, that's not the confetti story. So me and my best friend, I'm just telling you, that's what happened with confetti. And I know that, that was one of the issues. That he was like, "Okay, I'm going to check you and make sure you want to get in and all that." So fast forward a year or whatever, and confetti had been sued because they were doing that type of behavior to blacks. And I'll be blunt, I understand why. There was a club not too far from confetti that was mostly black. It was a shooting up there once a month. Maybe once every 2 months. So I get why people pass these rules and go, "Look, we're not getting involved in all this." So a year, they get sued, and we hadn't gone to confetti in a long time. Maybe another year goes by. It's a couple years. And my best friend and I said, "Hey, I hear there's a really good happy hour at Confetti's." And he goes, you want to try? I was like, "Yeah, let's go up there, man. It's been 2 years. That lawsuit, all this." So we go up there. And I got to tell you, spectacular buffet. Spectacular. So we go in there, and I'm not kidding you. This food is it was like restaurant prepared. It was beautiful. It was not only delicious tasting. It was delicious looking, right? So we're going through this buffet, and you make your own tacos. They had enchiladas and all this stuff. And there at the very end, I'm not lying, is the juiciest, most red watermelon I've seen in decades. I haven't seen watermelon like that since I was at my great-grandfather's house in Welder, Texas. And I dropped the watermelon and split open, and I will never forget the level of red and the amount of sweet that was in that watermelon, man. It was amazing. So we go through the whole thing, and we completely avoid the watermelon. I don't get any. Mark doesn't get any. So I go sit down first because I've got all my condom. I've got all my stuff I'm going to eat. And then here comes Mark. And we don't say a word. We're just sitting down. We're kind of wondering, are they going to let us, if we're going to get to stay? Because we were really skeptical if we were going to get in. So we go sit down, and we're starting to eat our food. And about 5 minutes of awkward silence goes by. And finally I said to Mark, "Do you see that watermelon?" And he says, "Yes." He goes, "Dude, it was all I could do to not get any of this watermelon to get there." I said, "Man," we start cracking up because that was the juiciest looking watermelon. But we were determined. We thought Confetti has a camera on that watermelon and on us. So I get the whole stereotype thing. Okay, I even lived it. But I'll tell you this: if I went to Confetti today and that watermelon was there, I would make a beeline for it because I've grown up since then. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about more about this firefighter because, see, I never got this memo. I knew there was a stigma attached to watermelon in a joking sense, but I never cared about it because I love watermelon. And like I said, I don't care if you bring me watermelon. In fact, guys, if y'all want to bring me some watermelon tomorrow, feel free. Just make sure it's juicy red, okay? So where does it end? You know, if a dude had brought haggis, would it have offended the Scottish? You know, and so I said, can the dude sue the fire station for not giving him a list of appropriate gifts? You know, the dude who runs Engine 55 goes, "You can bring whatever you want." Well, apparently you can't. You can't bring whatever you want. And look, let me tell you what, you know, the black firefighters, they're going to be trying to go, "Hey, listen, I've been grieved at the job and I need to get grief counseling and take a few weeks off in order to recover." You know, it's like they did with Michael Brown. When Michael Brown, the verdict came out and they told all those Columbia kids, "Y'all don't have to take your finals." Okay. So anyway, we made a list of what you shouldn't do if you're white and you're the first the white firefighter going to, and it's your rookie day and you're going in to meet the brothers. We just made a list of a few things that you shouldn't do. Feel free to add. Give us your call and let us know what you think you could add to this. 844-551-8255. But we said you probably shouldn't wear a JT shirt with a gold chain. What do you think? It's not a good idea. You probably shouldn't come in with your rap music blazing from Spotify. Okay? So here's another one. Maybe you shouldn't refer to your wife or your live-in lover or whatever as your baby mama or baby daddy if you happen to be a woman firefighter. Here's something else, the one that we came up with. You might not want to ponder, at least out loud, who shot Tupac or Biggie. A question not to ask your fellow brothers or sisters is if anybody DVR'd the episode of Empire last night. In case you know what Empire is, it's a black record company, black mogul. Oh, but for all, never do this. Never, ever, ever do this, white people. If you are around black folks, don't talk about your good credit. Okay? Just don't do it. You'll just offend people. What about this? Drive a Cadillac or a Lincoln pre-1980 or a Chrysler 300 today. Don't do it. Okay? Those are designated black vehicles. Do not touch them. You'll be in trouble. Don't ever talk about drinking Kool-Aid as a child. You can talk about drinking Kool-Aid as being brainwashed, but never talk about it as a child. And here's the number one thing that a white person should never do around his black coworkers, firefighter, Engine 55, or wherever. Never in your life declare that you didn't vote for Barack Obama. Don't do it. If you're asked, just tell them, I did. I did both times. Because anything less is going to be considered treason. You will be ostracized, if not fired, or you have to get re-educated.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.